So in the last lecture we learnt about the offence of criminal force. Now let's look at section 351, which deals with assault. I'll be covering the punishment for criminal force in the coming lecture because the punishment for criminal force and assault is same. So let's first discuss the offence of assault and then we'll come on to the punishment. The dictionary meaning of assault is to make a physical attack on someone. But under section 351, the meaning of assault is somewhat different. As per section 351, assault does not mean making a physical attack on someone, but instead it means knowingly or intentionally making such gestures or preparation by a person that gives an impression to the other person that such person is going to use criminal force on him. So whether an act will fall under the category of assault is dependent upon the effect created in the mind of the victim by such gestures or preparation. If the victim feels threatened by such gestures or preparation, then it will amount to assault. Now let's understand from an example what these gestures or preparation could be. First, Mr. A shakes his fist at Mr. Z with the intention or knowledge that he may likely to cause Mr. Z to believe that Mr. A is about to strike Mr. Z. Mr. A has committed assault. Basically, the court will look into the facts and circumstances to determine if a normal person will feel threatened in such circumstances or not. Take another example. Mr. A begins to unloose the muzzle of a ferocious dog, intending or knowing it to be likely that he may thereby cause Mr. Z to believe that he is about to cause the dog to attack Mr. Z. A has committed an assault upon Mr. Z. Now there is an explanation appended to section 351. This explanation says mere words do not amount to assault, but the words which a person uses may give to his gestures or preparation such a meaning as may make those gestures or preparation amount to assault. The meaning of this explanation is that words or gestures which is unaccompanied by any other circumstances might not amount to assault. Like simply telling someone that I will break your head will not amount to assault. But if saying this while shouting in anger will amount to assault. Let's understand this with one more example. Mr. A enters into Mr. B's shop. Mr. B asks him to leave, but Mr. A refuses to leave. Then Mr. B and his workers surround Mr. A and started folding up their sleeves. Mr. B and his workers threatened Mr. A that they will break his neck if he does not leave the shop. So what do you think? Will this amount to assault? Why or why not? You can pause the video and think about it for a minute. Okay, let me explain. This will amount to assault. But this act does not become assault simply because Mr. B and his workers threatened Mr. A to break his neck. The fact that they surrounded him and folded up their sleeves, which is generally done to beat someone, is a gesture which will bring this act into the category of assault. Now, what happens when the threat is actually executed? For example, Mr. A is very angry on Mr. Y. Mr. A takes up a stick and threatens to hit Mr. Y with the stick. This is assault. But what happens if he actually hits Mr. Y? Under English law, actually hitting the person or causing hurt to the person is called battery. Under the Indian law, any act that causes bodily pain can be divided into two categories. Either it will amount to hurt or it will amount to criminal force. Act which causes higher degree of injury falls under the category of hurt. The act which are of lower degree, such as pushing someone in anger or spitting on someone's face, amounts to criminal force. I hope this is clear.